Hi everyone, I'm Coach Sierra. Welcome to another video with me, the Research and Assessment Specialist for Academic Coaching for World Changers. This is our part 3 video of introducing the NCE for those who may not know about the NCE. In our very first video, we gave an introduction using the main resources from the NBCC site. The second video, we talked about the K-CREP Common Core areas, as well as the 6 domains. In this video, we're talking about the eligibility, the registering, and then the administration options. So for those eligible, or those who are eligible to take the exam, must have completed a graduate program or on the very tail end of their graduate program. To register for the exam, the registration begins on the NBCC website by forming an account and then registering through their site. All right. So once you've registered, or once you've registered, we could say that, then you're here on the NBCC site because you want to read more about the information. You can see here in our first video began with the information, then the content, and then I clicked on online administration here. Let me mark it in purple. Hopefully my cursor will work for me this time. Yeah, great. So when I go to that, then I end up on this site right here, administration options. Let me go and clear this annotation. Give me just one moment, everyone. So you can take the test in 2 different ways. You can take the in-person version or the online version. Okay. The National Board for Certified Counselors is excited to announce a remote administration option. So if you didn't know, you can take it remote for the NCE and the NCHMCE. That 5-letter always trips me. You now have the choice to take the NCE and the NCHMCE online from the privacy of your home through the OnView platform or in person at a Pearson VUE Test Center. The information below is designed to assist you in choosing the option that best suits your needs and will allow you to have the best possible testing experience. Okay, so what to expect? You can watch the video. I'm not going to click on the video for this time, but just orienting you all to the resources. You can apply for accommodations before you take your exam. If you require or request special accommodations during the examination because of the ADA recognized disability or because English is your second language, you must indicate your request at the time you submit your examination registration. This will delay the time you get a test date, but it's quite worth it for those who have test anxiety, for those who need the extra room, for those, or like a room by yourself, for those who need the extra time, other accommodations that are available. We also recommend that you upload the appropriate documentation verifying the need for the request at the time of the registration, rather than registering for the exam and then applying for accommodations later, although both are possible. All requests for special examination accommodations are reviewed individually and subject to approval, and you'll receive a notification, typically via email. Identification requirements. So when you get to the testing site, you must bring 2 forms of original, no photocopies, valid, unexpired ID. That's caught some people before. Make sure your ID is valid. One must be a government issued ID with name, photo, and signature. The secondary ID must have name, signature, or name in a recent photo. Note, the first and last name that you use to register for the examination must exactly match the first and last name on the IDs that are presented on test day. Both required IDs must be issued by the country in which you are testing. If you do not have qualifying IDs issued from the country in which you are testing, a passport from your country of citizenship is required along with a secondary ID. If you have any questions or concerns about the ID you are required to bring with you to the test center for admittance for your examination, please contact the Pearson VUE customer service. All right, you can also email them. You can call them and email them. So this is your identification requirements. The security requirements, again, this is all for in person. The following security procedures apply during the examination. No cell phones, no cameras, notes, tape recorders, personal digital assistants, or pagers allowed in the examination room. No calculators are committed. Again, remember, I'm the Research and Assessment Specialist for Academic Coaching. No calculators are permitted. What does that tell you? This is not a math exam. This is not the math section. You can totally pass research and assessment sections and questions, okay? No guests, visitors, or family members are allowed in the examination room. You can't bring your pet, unfortunately. Except for keys and wallets, no personal items, valuables, or weapons should be brought into the examination room. The NBCC is not responsible for items left outside the examination room, so just leave it in your vehicle, or if someone's dropping you off their vehicle. Break limitations. You may take a break if you wish or when you wish, but you will not be given additional time to test. So just know that the clock will not stop because you need a break. But if you need to take a break, but just note this is not the time to maybe freshen up your makeup or spend 30 minutes on a phone call. Okay, so then COVID-19 safety measures. Pearson VUE continues to closely monitor the COVID-19 pandemic and will adjust test center operations as needed. For an updated guidance on health and safety practices, testing candidate policies, and location-specific testing information, you'll want to visit more on the Pearson VUE website to see if there's any additional accommodations that your particular site may need in alignment with the COVID-19 safety procedures and measures. So this is some information for the in-person administration. Some other details, by the way, before I continue for the online. If you get cold, typically, you won't be able to bring your jacket. So wear a long sleeve. If you get hot easily, wear a short sleeve. Things like that, be mindful of. You won't be able to take anything in the room really at all. So if you have a watch, you won't be able to take your watch. You will be able to have a clock when you test though. Anything else I want to share? Your glasses, they will scan your glasses to make sure there's nothing in your glasses. So just be mindful of that. They will practically do a head to toe pat to make sure it's a fair testing administration for everyone. So as we discussed earlier, you can do online test administration. Due to a variety of technical and physical limitations related to internet-based test administrations, the NBCC and the CCE will be unable to provide approved special examination accommodations through the Pearson VUE online test delivery and proctoring service. However, all accommodations will continue to be provided through the site-based examination processes. The reduced testing volume in those sites should help to create a more efficient and safer experience for all examinees. All special examination accommodations that are approved by the NBCC and the CCE will only be provided to candidates in connection with in-person test administrations taken at the Pearson VUE testing centers during scheduled appointments. So what you will need for your online administration. You will still need identification requirements. You'll be prompted to capture a photo of your valid, unexpired, government-issued ID and a real-time photo of yourself. Please note, the first and last name that you use to register for the exam must exactly match the first and last name on the ID that is presented on that test day. If the identification that you submit does not pass the initial review, you may be asked to submit an alternative option. All required IDs must be issued by the country in which you are testing. If you do not have a qualifying ID issued from the country in which you are testing, a passport from your country of citizenship is required along with a secondary ID. If you have any questions or concerns about the ID you're required to bring with you to the testing center for admittance for your examination, please contact the Pearson VUE customer service via email or calling. Security requirements. You are required to capture 4 photos of your testing environment. So this does not mean because you're taking it at home, you can cheat. You will have to take a picture of your environment. You cannot have pictures on your wall. You won't be able to read something. If you move your lips too much, they will clock that. So be very mindful that testing at home is not key for, oh, this is a great way to cheat or try to get additional help during my testing administration. Constant online proctoring and monitoring will be conducted both by artificial intelligence and a VUE certified proctor via webcam and microphone throughout the examination. Okay, so they will be watching you. You must review all submitted information and follow-ups as needed with a Pearson team member. System requirements. Before choosing on VUE for your examination administration, evaluate your equipment and intended testing location to ensure that you meet all the requirements for online teaching. So for those of you who have dogs at home, you got to be careful. Make sure those dogs are quiet. Maybe put your dog somewhere else for a temporary location. That way you're not constantly looking and turning because the proctor will be watching you. And I'm sure they'll be able to hear the dogs in the background, but you don't want to be clocked for any other distractions that could create a invalid test result. Adequate space on your computer to download the required software. These are the system requirements, by the way. So adequate space on your computer to download the required software. Strong and reliable internet connection of at least 1 Mbps for both the upload and download bandwidth. You can perform a system check as well through the NBCC website. a functional webcam, a functional microphone. Most computers, have these built in, but just double check. One of the following operating systems: Windows 10, 8.1, 32-bit or 64-bit. 7 SPI, 32-bit or 64-bit. Mac OS X 10.10 or above. Minimum RAM specified for the operating system, 4 GB or more. Minimum display resolution of 1024 by 768 in 16-bit color. Highly recommended hardwire connection, not wireless, especially for those with a slower internet connection. Note, if the connection is lost during the online administration of the examination, you will not be able to go back into the examination. In the event that this happens, you will have to schedule to take the examination at a Pearson VUE testing center at a later date. So really make sure you're in a place with strong internet. We strongly encourage you to complete a system check before selecting a response, which you can do on the NBCC site. If you have any questions about these system requirements, of course, please contact the Pearson VUE customer service via online or call. Testing space requirements. Other individuals, including children and pets, are not allowed in the testing environment. So your emotional support animal may not be with you at this time. I'm so sorry. We recommend, though, if possible, using a room that has a door with a lock to reduce the likelihood that an interruption will happen. You are not permitted to get up or leave your testing computer for any reason except for one 15-minute pre-scheduled break. Interruptions, including contact with any other person other than the examination proctor, will result in disqualification from the online administration of the examination. In the event that this happens, you will have to schedule to take the examination at a Pearson VUE test center at a later date. Additionally, examinees are not allowed to have textbooks, cell phones, smartwatches, or other materials that may have test content information on their desk or within reach in the testing environment. Okay, just to reinforce that break limitation, as we talked about earlier, you are not permitted to get up or leave your testing computer for any reason except for the one 15-minute pre-scheduled break. This break will be provided, after you complete the first 100 questions on the exam. Remember, it's a 200-question exam, and you'll be scored on 160 of them. After the break, you will not be permitted to return to the first 100 questions. If you leave your testing location at any time outside of the break, you will have to schedule to take the examination at a Pearson VUE testing center at a later date. The reason why I speak about the in-person a bit more firmly, I guess you could say, is because there's myths that the in-person will be easier. Now, for some people, that at home will be easier. For some people, at home works great. They really love this option. They thrive in this option. And maybe that is the case for you. So I'm not knocking down the online option, but I want you all to be mindful of the technicalities and the system requirements and the testing space requirements and the break limitations. That way you know what you're getting into for online, because I would hate for your exam to be disqualified because you weren't aware of maybe some of the additional information and specifications that are for online test administration. Again, all of this information is found on the NBCC website, but I wanted to take the time to give you this information live in a video. I guess it's not really live, but in a recorded video for you, for those of you who might get lost in the NBCC website. If you have any questions at all, you can, of course, email the NBCC Pearson VUE folks. But if you have any questions about what we can do for you here at Academic Coaching, if you want individual sessions for a particular subject or all the subjects, we have bundle packages. If you want to get in with group or boot camp to really prepare you for this exam, you can always email us at drpam2020@gmail.com or check us out on our website at academiccoachingforworldchangers.com. All right, I'm Coach Sierra, the Research and Assessment Specialist for Academic Coaching. Thank you so much for joining me on another video. I've heard lots of feedback that you guys are watching the video, so I'm really glad that they're helping you out. If you have any questions, email us. Have a lovely day, and thanks for joining.